Don't think healthcare professionals have any business experience? Think again. No topic is off limits as we share tales from our brave hosts who will always tell it like it is. We are #NoFilterHealthcare. Here to guide you through your healthcare journey are your hosts, Taylor Dunn and Tamara Donda. We want to thank our sponsor, Uptime Health, the leading healthcare equipment and compliance management software company, for bringing this podcast to fruition. Visit uptimehealth.com to learn more. Let's get started.
Welcome to #NoFilterHealthcare. I'm your co-host, Taylor Dunn. Yeah, welcome to the podcast, Michael.
Happy to be here. I am excited about this. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course. Yeah. So first off, I just wanted to start off and say that I absolutely love your company tagline. For those that don't know what it is, it's created by doctors for doctors, which to me just makes perfect sense. And I'm really excited to learn more about how this whole company came about. Kind of get the insider scoop from you about your own personal experience of, what healthcare organizations need when they're truly looking for a financial support partner like Panacea. So to start it off, I'd just love for you to give us a little bit of background on you and then how Panacea Financial was started.
Yeah, so right off the bat, I am a practicing doctor, so I still see patients, still practice clinically, and basically lived through a lot of frustrating experiences financially, like many doctors do, whether in training or in practice. And it became obvious that there was not really anybody filling this need, and who better to do it than someone within the community. So to give you guys some examples, for instance, so in medical school, we lived off loans, and my wife and I, we had one child. And then after med school, we went to residency. And in residency, you really have to figure out a way to move to this new place. Guess what? You don't have any money. You haven't gotten paid yet. You still have either no loans or no money, and you're expected to move. That's like 30,000 something med students doing this per year. Then you get into residency, you're working 80 plus hours a week. Many folks like myself were living month to month and sometimes losing money or any really unexpected cost. I don't have a good way to pay for it. Also, I forgot to add that I have, like several $100,000 in student loans at the same time. So a lot of financial stress. And then you get into practice and you might have credit card debt because of all of your training and difficulty covering costs. You might again have student loans you want to refinance. You might want to either buy into, start, or build, grow a practice, and all of your financials on paper might be very intimidating by your average bank. But it's funny because I think everyone on this podcast knows is that once you get money as a doctor, that's when all the banks want your business. And before that, they essentially don't really understand how long your training takes, why you have all this debt, why were you in school so long and not working? All of these things that are pretty obvious. So, we decided, why don't we find a solution ourselves for our own community?
I love that. And that kind of rolls into one of the questions I wanted to ask you, which is, what are one of the biggest financial challenges that you've seen physicians faced with when they're owning their own practice? And remember, when you answer this, we're #NoFilter. That's what we do. So we want you to give the honest truth on what you saw those financial burdens to be that, no one really likes to talk about, but we should know about.
Yeah, it's interesting because, a couple of things. Being a doctor, you're used to people trying to tell you all the things you should do with your money. And many times that is from someone who doesn't have the purest motives. And so there's a lot of distrust within the doctor community of outsiders, frankly, on trying to sell us things we don't need, push us into products or financial decisions we don't need. So number one, it can be really difficult to find where to even go to get started because you don't know who you can trust. The second thing I would say is, and it's kind of the elephant in the room for any doctor, is student loans. What am I supposed to do with my student loans? I'm buying into a practice, I'm starting a practice, but yet I have maybe $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 in student loans. What am I supposed to do with this? And how should I handle this? There is not a bank that I know of, besides Panacea Financial, I'm a little biased, but there's not a bank that I know of that can handle a business loan for your practice and your student loans at the same time and actually know what they're talking about to be able to try to guide you for what the best decision is. It was important for us to be a one-stop shop that is trusted, that isn't just a website or a brand that has a bunch of people in white coats from stock photography, but actually has products that are catered to us and to our community. So I think I'm rambling, but my basic answer is one of the biggest things is where to go, who to trust, and two, almost, well, not everybody, but a vast majority of young doctors, one of the biggest questions they have to answer is what to do with their student loans.
I think I'm not a doctor and I still have that question, so it's just a common question, but it's great to hear that you guys have a solution. So,
And what I'll say too is at the end of the day, I want what's best for a doctor. So if it is not with us, if it is with, just us educating that doctor on where they should do, and it's not using one of our products, I'm fine with that. And our company is fine with that. We are not built to try to push debt on people that already have plenty, or push bad debt on people that already have plenty. We're here to actually give them options of things that they need and be, I think, a better alternative than what's out there on the market that they actually can trust and has their best interests at heart. The other thing I'll say is what's important to the doctor community too is time. And it's really frustrating when you can't get a hold of anyone when you need to, because guess what? You stop seeing patients, all the banks are closed. You can't get a hold of anybody, or you're a bank, and there's a couple of them I won't say by name that that will get your business, but then you never hear from them again. You can't get a hold of the person you developed a relationship with. And as a community of doctors, we're time hungry and time sensitive. So it was important for us as a company to be available at doctor hours, not banker hours. So it's very easy for for doctors when they're working with us to be able to find someone that can answer their questions, knows their name, understands the lingo, and understands their schedule. And I think that's huge for our community, because we are so busy spinning so many plates, and then you throw on top of patient care, and then trying to deal with the financial community on odd hours or in the evening can be very difficult.
yeah, and that's, I think, one of the reasons we also loved that you partnered with Uptime Health, because, we see that you guys truly understand what the needs of the healthcare industry are when it comes to financial support. And you guys are, helping the entire healthcare industry. It's not just one specific, it's not just dentists, it's not just veterinarians, it's across the spectrum, which is really amazing.
That's right. That's right. And I'll say this too. We're very excited about partnering with Uptime. We do get approached by lots of folks who claim to be doctor centric or healthcare centric. And again, I'm not trying to sound cynical, but there's many people that try and just don't hit the mark because they really don't understand our community well, which was really exciting about Uptime, being innovative, finding a need and filling that need, and really having the doctor in mind. And honestly, it helps the borrower and helps us too. So one of the things we're excited about is, for instance, if a doctor needs equipment and they need money to buy equipment, if they use Uptime to be able to make sure that's serviced correctly and managed correctly, that we do offer specialized pricing, because we're trying to incentivize a decision that we think is in the best interest of the doctor and ultimately the patients. So we are very excited about this too.
So, finding the right financial partner for you and your business can be difficult really in any industry, but especially in healthcare. So, what is the best first step when you're trying to find a financial partner that best fits your needs?
Yeah, I think for us, the number one thing is trust, and that I keep kind of beating on this topic, but really understanding who is actually for the doctors and who has services that are for our community, and not just in name or in advertising, but in actual products and in services. And then being able to see the customers they've actually helped or the doctors they've actually helped. So number one would be trust for us, because again, there's a lot of players in the field appealing or trying to appeal to doctors that aren't necessarily any different or treating doctors any differently than they would any other type of industry or customer. So that's the number one thing, is do they actually have the doctor's best interest at heart? So trust. The second thing I think is, I kind of mentioned it already, but really seeing from a, whether it be word of mouth or other customer reviews, what was the other customer's experiences like? And for us, that's really important. We get a lot of customer testimonials. Our Trustpilot, I think we're actually the second highest rated bank on Trustpilot's website. For all of our reviews, you can actually see customers, other doctors that have used us. We do the same thing in our due diligence for other partners to kind of trust but verify, if you will. And I mean, I think that's where the basis of all of it starts on. And that's another reason why I think companies that really focus on doctors and are innovative is like Uptime that really fits that mold.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like anytime you're dealing with someone else's money or financial situation, there has to be so much trust. It's the only way you're going to be successful for both ends. So speaking of success, I know you're a successful physician, business owner. So, what is one of the things that you can tell our listeners that's going to change their perspective on how they currently think about their business? And, it doesn't have to be financially specific. It can be any type of gold nugget of advice that you want to give our listeners that can truly be applied to their business right away.
That's a tough question. It's so hard because I feel like there's a million lessons, you learn along the way, and I certainly am not a know-it-all by any chance. But one thing I do think has been a theme for me and for our company has been this adage, and I might botch it, so forgive me for those fact checkers out there who are going to Google if this is a real quote or not. But it is something like necessity is the mother of all invention. So as I described what my story was like, and there was clearly needs that I had, that other doctors had, and having a bank that understood us, but no one was dealing with it. It was a need. I'm not like the most creative guy in the world. It was just a plain and simple need that I had right in front of me. And so that allowed us to invent a solution. And I think and obviously for a lot of people, that's a no-brainer, like many cliches and pieces of advice, but when you really boil it down, of trying to think about what are some actual necessities that your business has, that your customers face or your patients face, and how can you actually be innovative to meet that need instead of just accepting that it is the status quo. And the other thing I would say to that is likely there are probably others who have seen that need as well, and perhaps there already are solutions out there that you just don't know about. And trying to find those other innovators that you can partner with to meet the need. But again, that's a high level, potentially cliche piece of advice, but I do think it's driven a lot of what we've done and the products we've come up with and the way we've built our products. And our company is just really seeing what the need is out there, and why no one else is doing it is crazy to me. But that has led us to be a company that's fully digital, nationwide bank for all, like you mentioned, doctors, physicians, dentists, veterinarians, podiatrists. And I think, like I said, I think that invention has led us to be the only bank that I know of where you can acquire a practice and pay for your student loans and get a personal loan all with the same application, with the same relationship, the same bank, which to me is like obvious. Why would anyone else do this? But it doesn't exist that I know of.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think that's one of the funniest things you think about is a lot of people that are trying to be super innovative and are trying to think so far outside the box, sometimes forget what's right in front of them and just take a look at what those pain points are. What needs a solution right now? You guys hit the nail on the head, I think, and it's great to partner with you guys. Yeah, but it was really great speaking with you. We loved having you on today's episode. And for us, just having a financial perspective is so unique, and we don't get to experience that too often. So it's really great to have your insight shared with us today. And if you'd like to learn more, you can visit panaceafinancial.com. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast or comment below if you have any questions for us. Thank you.